Pilots, start your engines. Ever wanted to fly? How about flying your own plane in a major cross-country air race? To find out what it's like, we took a ride with pilot Pat Lowers, a contender in this year's Air Race Classic.
In order to win the Air Race Classic, there are a few things that you have to do. One is you have to really know your plane and its performance characteristics. And you have to be able to navigate very carefully so that you get the maximum performance, the maximum speed. Clear to land 30 right, 9 Echo Quebec.
Back on the ground, we found out more about the race and the necessary preparations for it.
The Air Race Classic started actually with Amelia Earhart and the original 99s. There were a group of women pilots who weren't allowed to race. Only men were allowed to race. So they created their own organization and their own race. And they did these in open cockpit planes, some biplanes, with no navigation aids.
Pat showed us how she plans her flight.
I take a map, which we call a chart, and I use a piece of string to draw a line from one point to another. I call for a complete weather forecast and briefing for my entire route of flight. I may have to alter my course so that the wind doesn't blow me off my course. I have to use the law of cosines to figure out the angle that I have to turn the plane to fly so that I am going straight on my course line. I can use my handy E6B little calculator to help me determine the angle that the plane has to fly at in order to go straight along the course while the wind is pushing me in the other direction.
Even with all this pre-flight planning, pilots still have to have a way to figure out where they are when they're in the air.
A little triangulation can help you know where you are in the air. We have some ground-based navigation aids called VORs. Here's an indication of one on my chart. Here's an indication of another one on my chart. I have two VOR receivers in my airplane, and I dial them in on the communication portion of my radio. By turning these dials until I receive a heading where the needle centers, I can get a heading to that VOR. So by drawing a line from one heading of one VOR and the other heading of the other VOR, where those lines intersect is where I am in the air. The GPS opens up a whole new way to navigate. All of the other nav aids we've ever had are ground-based. The GPS is satellite-based. This gives us the ability to do triangulation as it's really meant to be done. I can pick up with this handheld unit up to 8 satellites. That means I can pick 8 different points coming down from the sky, move them all together to a specific point, and navigate myself to within 3 meters of a particular object. Since I got my GPS, it has helped me to fly a much more exact course without having to wander around. I can always find exactly where I'm going with that. Blue skies, everyone!